Have you ever looked at someone in a healthy, beautiful relationship and thought, how did they find that? What do they know that I don't? You work on yourself. You show up. You try to stay open-hearted even after heartbreak. And yet, somehow you keep attracting the wrong people, the unavailable ones, the inconsistent ones, the ones who seem great at first but disappear when things get real. It's frustrating. It's exhausting, and worst of all, it starts to chip away at your confidence. But here's the truth no one tells you. Attracting the right person has less to do with luck, and everything to do with strategy, alignment, and self-worth. In this speech, I want to share with you the 4 biggest secrets I've discovered through thousands of conversations, coaching sessions, and real-life relationships that determine whether you attract someone who's right for you or someone who just wastes your time. Let's break it open. Secret number 1. The right person is drawn to your standards, not your appearance. Let's just be real. Yes, attraction matters. Chemistry is real. But attraction without alignment is like fire. Without wood, hot for a moment, then gone. The biggest misconception is thinking you have to look, act, or behave a certain way to attract someone worthwhile. But here's the shift that changes everything. The right person is not attracted to the mask you wear. They're attracted to the standards you set. That means the energy you walk into the room with matters more than what you're wearing. When you own your values, when you have clarity about what you want and the courage to walk away from anything less, you send out a very different kind of signal. You say, I'm not here to be liked by everyone. I'm here to be loved by the right one. Most people spend so much time trying to impress, but forget to observe. They try to be chosen, but forget to ask, is this someone I want to choose back? When you have standards, emotional standards, respect standards, communication standards, you stop wasting time on people who don't meet them. And that's not arrogance. That's emotional maturity. People who are emotionally ready feel your confidence in the boundaries you hold. It's not about being aggressive or cold. It's about being anchored. The right person doesn't run from your standards. They rise to meet them. Secret number 2. You attract what you believe. You deserve. Let's get brutally honest. Your love life is often a reflection of your self-perception. If deep down you believe love is conditional, or that people always leave, or that you're too much or not enough, then guess what? You will unconsciously choose people who confirm that belief. Not because you want to suffer, but because the familiar feels safe. But if you shift your internal story, if you truly start to believe that you are worthy of deep, respectful, and passionate love, you will start choosing differently. You will start seeing differently. You'll no longer be drawn to the hot and cold person, because now that energy feels cheap, not exciting. You'll stop texting the guy who only reaches out at midnight because you've outgrown crumbs. You'll no longer be afraid of walking away because now you know what's on the line: your peace, your worth, your future. Here's the truth. You don't get what you want. You get what you tolerate. You attract at the level of your self-esteem. Raise it, and everything else around you rises too. The quality of people you engage with, the way they treat you, and the way you show up. Start treating yourself the way you want someone else to treat you. With kindness, with priority, with appreciation. Because when you do that, you'll become incompatible with anyone who doesn't. This is the inner game of attraction. It's not about being flawless. It's about being congruent. Your outside world starts reflecting your inner world the moment you stop abandoning yourself. Secret number 3. The right person isn't just exciting. They're safe. Let's talk about the difference between intensity and intimacy. Because most people confuse the two. They meet someone who gives them butterflies, who texts in riddles, who keeps them guessing, and they think, this must be real attraction. But here's what's really happening. You're confusing anxiety for chemistry. See, unpredictability can feel like attraction because your nervous system is on high alert. You don't know if they'll text. You don't know if they care. You're constantly walking on eggshells, hoping you're not being too much. That's not passion. That's emotional survival. Now contrast that with this. You meet someone who shows up consistently, who listens when you speak, who cares about how your day went, who doesn't make you chase. Suddenly, it feels calm, almost boring, but calm, that's what safety feels like. And the more healing you do, the more boring becomes beautiful. You stop craving highs and lows. You stop needing drama to feel alive. Because now, your nervous system is no longer looking for validation, it's looking for connection. The right person doesn't play games. They don't dangle the carrot. They don't make you question your worth. They bring peace, not confusion. That's not to say there won't be passion, spark, or attraction. There absolutely will be. But it's grounded, it's reliable, it's secure. So if you're used to chaos, it's time to ask yourself, have I mistaken pain for passion? Because the right person won't keep you up at night wondering where you stand, they'll make it crystal clear. Secret number 4. You find the right person. When you become the right person for yourself, this one might sting, but it's also the most empowering secret of all. We spend so much time asking, where is my person, that we forget to ask, who am I being while I wait? You don't attract the right person by chasing love. You attract them by becoming someone who no longer needs love to feel whole. You become magnetic the moment you stop trying to get something from someone else and start creating a beautiful life for yourself. Want to attract someone kind, generous, and driven? Be kind to yourself. Be generous with your own dreams. Be driven by your own goals. Want someone who values depth and connection? Create a life full of those things. Surround yourself with people who see you. Dive into meaningful experiences. Build emotional depth before anyone else walks into your story. This is not about perfection. It's not about fixing yourself before you deserve love. You already do. It's about alignment. Living a life that reflects the kind of love you want to receive. When your life is filled with joy, purpose, and authenticity, the wrong people naturally fall away. Why? Because they don't fit anymore. You no longer need someone to fill the empty spaces. You've already filled them. And now, your energy attracts people who want to share life with you, not rescue or complete you. The most powerful love doesn't come when you're searching desperately. It comes when you're centered deeply. When your happiness is not up for sale, when your worth isn't negotiable, and when your peace is protected like gold, that's when the right person finds you. Not because you needed them to, but because you became the kind of person who never settles for anything less. Secret number 1, the right person is drawn to your standards, not your appearance. There's a story society keeps telling us that in order to attract love, especially from someone high quality, we need to enhance how we look, wear the right clothes, get the right body, be effortlessly charming, appear perfect. But that story, as seductive as it sounds, is deeply misleading, and honestly, it's hurting people. The real secret? It's not your appearance that determines the quality of the person you attract. It's your standards. And when you begin to deeply understand and live by this truth, your entire dating experience changes. Now, let's clarify. Physical attraction absolutely matters. It's a vital spark in any romantic relationship. But looks might get someone's attention. They don't keep it. What keeps it, what builds long-term desire and admiration, are your boundaries, your self-respect, your standards. Think of someone you deeply admire, not because of how they look, but because of how they carry themselves. There's a grounded energy, a calm confidence, a presence that says, I know who I am. I know what I will and won't accept. That's magnetic. That's irresistible. And that's built through living by standards, not arbitrary rules or manipulation tactics, but deeply rooted personal values. When you have standards, you stop overperforming. You stop trying to impress someone into liking you. You're not seeking validation. You're observing. You're asking, does this person fit the life I've worked so hard to build? You shift from being someone who waits to be chosen to someone who chooses. And that mindset shift is powerful. For example, imagine you're on a date and someone starts subtly testing your boundaries. Maybe they tease you in a way that feels disrespectful. Maybe they joke about ghosting people. Maybe they talk over you, only talking about themselves. A person with no clear standards might brush it off to avoid making it awkward or to avoid being seen as too sensitive. But someone who lives by their standards might calmly say, I'm not comfortable with that kind of humor, or simply choose not to pursue a second date. That simple decision, guided by internal standards, not external validation, immediately filters out the wrong person. Now, what happens in reverse? When someone meets you and senses that you have high standards, it subtly triggers one of the most attractive forces in dating: challenge. But not the kind of artificial, exhausting challenge where you pretend to be unavailable or play hard to get. No, this is authentic challenge. It says, I have a beautiful life I've built, and not everyone gets access to it. This doesn't repel the right person. It inspires them. It signals to emotionally healthy people that they need to show up fully, respectfully, and consistently if they want to be part of your world. Here's a truth that many struggle with. If you constantly lower your standards for people, you'll only attract people who live at that lower level. And then, you'll end up resenting them. Not because of who they are, but because you betrayed yourself to accommodate them. People with standards don't operate from scarcity. They know love isn't about being liked by the most people. It's about being loved by the right person. So they're not afraid of walking away from someone who looks good on paper but lacks emotional maturity. They're not interested in short-term chemistry that costs long-term peace. Another critical thing to understand is that standards are not ultimatums. They're not rigid demands or a list of things someone must do to earn you. They're non-negotiables rooted in self-awareness. For example, I don't chase people who ignore me. I communicate openly and expect honesty in return. I don't tolerate hot and cold behavior. It's emotional whiplash. I value consistency over charisma. When you live this way, your energy changes. You stop feeling anxious about someone pulling away because your self-worth isn't riding on their validation. You stop giving second and third chances to people who keep disrespecting you because you trust your standards more than you fear being alone. And ironically, the less you need someone to choose you, the more desirable you become. Because confidence isn't just being loud or bold. It's the quiet knowing that you don't have to beg for love, that you don't need to convince someone of your value. That love isn't a reward you win. It's something you co-create with someone who meets you where you are. When you live by your standards, you create a filter, a powerful one. And sure, that filter might mean fewer people get through, but the ones who do, they'll be higher quality, more aligned, emotionally ready, because you've made it clear, from the beginning, I'm not looking for just anyone, I'm looking for someone real, and I bring something real too. That's the shift. That's the secret. You don't need to be the most beautiful person in the room. You need to be the clearest about what you want, and most unshakable in what you'll no longer accept. Secret number 2. You attract what you believe. You deserve, let's talk about something deeply personal and deeply transformative. Have you ever looked at your dating history and thought, why do I keep ending up with the same kind of person? The emotionally unavailable one, the commitment phobe, the one who makes you question your worth. You might tell yourself you have bad luck or a broken picker. But the truth is usually more confronting and more empowering. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you deserve. It sounds simple, but it's a foundational principle in relationships. Your subconscious beliefs about love, worthiness, and relationships are silently shaping your choices, your patterns, and your boundaries. Think of it like a thermostat. If your internal thermostat is set at 60 degrees, meaning you believe love is unreliable, that people leave, or that you're hard to love, then no matter how great someone treats you, your mind will start to sabotage it. You'll push them away. You'll doubt their sincerity. You'll create drama where there is none, because anything above 60 degrees feels uncomfortable. On the flip side, if your internal beliefs say, I am worthy of safe, consistent, passionate love, you'll naturally repel situations that don't align with that. You won't cling to the person who disappears for days at a time. You won't try to decode texts or overanalyze mixed signals. Why? Because now, your thermostat is set to 80 degrees, and anything less just doesn't feel right anymore. Belief drives behavior, and behavior determines who stays in your life. Let's break it down further. If, deep down, you believe love has to be earned, you'll overfunction in relationships. You'll try to prove your worth, chase affection, and accept poor treatment, thinking if you just give a little more, they'll finally love you the way you need. If you believe you're too much, you'll shrink yourself. You'll withhold your needs. You'll settle for less to avoid being difficult. And in doing so, you'll attract people who benefit from your silence but can't handle your depth. But if you rewire that belief, if you start saying, I am worthy of love as I am, I don't have to shrink, prove, or beg, you begin to date differently. You set boundaries earlier. You don't waste emotional energy trying to fix people. You know that the right person will meet you at your level, not make you climb down to theirs. So how do you shift these beliefs? First, bring them to the surface. Ask yourself, what do I really believe about love? Do I think people always leave? Do I believe I need to be perfect to be loved? Do I think it's normal to feel anxious or unworthy in relationships? Awareness is the first step. From there, it's about practicing new self-affirming behaviors. Start choosing people who choose you back. Start saying no to what drains you. Start speaking your truth without apologizing for it. Yes, this will feel uncomfortable at first, because your system is used to chaos or breadcrumbs or emotional highs and lows. But the more you lean into discomfort that leads to growth, the more you teach your brain and body what real love is supposed to feel like. Safe, kind, grounded, joyful. And over time, your self-worth becomes your filter. Not your fear of being alone, not your past wounds. Just a deep, unwavering sense that you deserve more than almost, maybe kinda love. That belief? It changes everything. Because now, your energy isn't chasing people. It's choosing people. Through clarity, alignment, and self-respect. You no longer have to hustle for love. You simply have to believe that the kind of love you want exists, and start living as if it's already yours. Secret number 3. The right person is drawn to your joy, not your pain. One of the most misunderstood aspects of attraction is this idea that we need to lead with our pain in order to connect, that we need to tell someone everything we've been through, all the heartbreak, the betrayal, the family dysfunction, the trauma, as if the more they know about how much we've suffered, the more likely they are to stay. But that's not how emotional connection works. And it's certainly not how attraction works. The right person isn't magnetized to your wounds. They're drawn to your joy, to the light that still exists in you despite the wounds. They're drawn to the fire you've protected even when life tried to snuff it out. That doesn't mean hiding your struggles or pretending everything's perfect. But it does mean learning to lead with the energy of aliveness, not emotional heaviness. Let's face it. We've all been through something. Everyone has a story of heartbreak or loss or disappointment. The difference lies in how we carry that story. Some people wear their pain like armor. They bring it into every conversation, every new relationship. They say things like, "All men cheat," or "I don't trust women anymore," or "Everyone leaves." These statements aren't facts. They're fear disguised as wisdom. And while they may seem protective, they're actually repellent to someone emotionally healthy. Why? Because a person who is ready for love is looking for someone to build joy with, not endlessly unpack trauma with. That doesn't mean vulnerability is bad. Vulnerability is beautiful, but it must be earned. It must be given to someone who's shown consistency, compassion, and care, not thrown out as a test to see who sticks around. When you lead with pain, you might attract a rescuer or someone addicted to drama. But when you lead with joy, you attract someone who wants to add to it. So what does leading with joy actually look like? It's choosing to talk about the things that make you come alive, the passions you've cultivated, the music that lights you up, the places you dream of visiting, the friends who make you laugh until you cry. It's sharing the small wins, the funny memories, the weird hobbies that make you, you. It's being present, not rehearsed. When someone sees that you still have light in your eyes, even after life has tried to dim it, they don't think, "Oh, they must not have gone through anything." They think, "Wow, they've clearly been through something and still choose joy." That's powerful. Joy is not surface-level energy. True joy is resilient. It says, "Yes, I've been broken, and I chose to rebuild." That energy is magnetic. Now here's something important. Your joy doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be the life of the party type of joy. It can be quiet joy, gentle joy, peaceful joy, a simple love for sunsets, or a deep appreciation for a book that moved you. What matters is that it's real, and when you begin to own your joy, you shift from needing someone to complete you to inviting someone to join you. You stop looking for someone to rescue you from your pain, and instead, you seek a partner who wants to co-create a life filled with meaning. Here's the truth that so many people miss. Pain may bond us temporarily, but joy sustains us. The couples who last aren't the ones who trauma bonded on the first date. They're the ones who built shared laughter, curiosity, and lightness, who chose to live in the present rather than constantly revisiting the past. And you deserve that. You deserve to be seen in your wholeness, not as a project, not as someone broken, not as someone damaged but lovable. You're not here to be fixed. You're here to shine. And when you let your light lead, the right person will follow. So let joy be your compass. Let it guide your conversations, your choices, your self-expression. Let it infuse your presence with warmth, not weight. That's where real attraction lives, in the space where two people meet, not as saviors, but as sovereign individuals, both choosing love from a place of fullness, not emptiness. When you understand that, you stop performing. You start being. And that's where the magic is. Secret number 4. Chemistry doesn't equal compatibility, shared vision. Let's talk about one of the most misleading and dangerous myths in love. The idea that chemistry is everything. You know the feeling. That electric connection. The butterflies. The flirtation that feels like fire. You can't stop thinking about them. They text and your heart races. They walk into a room and your energy shifts. It's intoxicating. It's irresistible. And we've been taught that when we feel that kind of chemistry, it must mean something. But here's the truth. Chemistry is not rare. Compatibility is. You can feel insane chemistry with someone who's emotionally unavailable. You can feel it with someone who isn't looking for a relationship, who doesn't respect your values, who isn't aligned with your vision for life. Chemistry isn't a signal that someone is your soulmate. It's a signal that your nervous system recognizes a pattern. And sometimes that pattern is chaos. So many people fall into toxic dynamics, confusing adrenaline for affection. They equate emotional highs and lows with love. But real compatibility, the kind that leads to lasting love, isn't about how exciting someone makes you feel on the first date. It's about how safe, seen, and supported you feel 6 months in. Here's a better question to ask. Do we share the same vision? Because relationships that last aren't just built on feelings. They're built on alignment, on two people moving in the same direction, on shared values, shared goals, and shared priorities. Think of it this way. Chemistry is the spark that lights the fire. Compatibility is the fuel that keeps it burning. You can have all the chemistry in the world, but if your lives are heading in opposite directions, it's not going to work. You want kids, they don't. You value monogamy. They want freedom. You're growth-oriented. They resist change. You prioritize communication. They avoid conflict. No amount of butterflies can fix that. So how do you know if someone is truly compatible? You pay attention not just to how you feel around them, but to how they live. You listen for alignment in the way they talk about the future. You observe how they treat others, how they navigate difficulty, how they respond when they're uncomfortable. Do they take responsibility? Are they emotionally mature? Can they apologize, compromise, evolve? Do they encourage your growth or subtly resent it? These questions matter because the person you build a life with will affect everything: your peace, your energy, your creativity, your capacity to dream. You want someone who expands you, not someone who makes you shrink. Compatibility isn't about perfection. It's about rhythm. Do you move well together? Do your strengths complement each other? Do your lives fit? Or are you constantly trying to force puzzle pieces that don't match? The best relationships aren't built on constant effort to make things work. They're built on ease, not laziness, but ease. A flow of communication, a mutual respect, a foundation of emotional safety that makes love feel like home, not like a battlefield. That kind of relationship starts with clarity. When you're clear about your vision, what you want, what you need, what you won't compromise, you naturally filter out the people who can't give it to you. But when you confuse chemistry for destiny, you overlook the red flags. You justify bad behavior. You wait for someone to change, to grow, to finally get it. And in doing so, you waste years trying to turn a spark into a structure, only to watch it collapse. Here's a powerful truth. The right person won't feel confusing. They won't make you question your worth or wonder where you stand. They'll align. Maybe not perfectly, but clearly, consistently, calmly. And the greatest sign of compatibility? You feel more yourself when you're with them, not less. So instead of asking, "Do I feel fireworks?" start asking, "Can I build something real here?" Look beyond the infatuation. Pay attention to their character, their choices, their patterns. Love is more than a feeling. It's a direction. It's a shared commitment. It's choosing the same future again and again. Because when you get this right, it's not just exciting, it's safe, supportive, and sustainable. And that's the kind of love that doesn't just spark, it endures.